we're going to create a car rental VPC. So you go pick up car rental VPC here and you go directly on create. So right now, as you can see, I'm going to follow the steps here. My region is already US is 1. The name of my VPC is car rental VPC. Then the CIDR block is 10.0.0/16. So uh, you can see that based on the fact that I already know what I'm doing, I'm moving a little bit faster. So anytime you build a VPC, the next thing you have to do is you have to go and enable a host name. So you click on action here, you go again on edit VPC, then you enable DNS host name. At this point, you're done with your VPC just like on the previous section. But the problem with the VPC is that this is a closed house. It means that you definitely need to go in and create a door or a means to communicate with either outsider or from the inside to the outside. So that's why you need an internet gateway. So it's just the way that other people on the internet will communicate with your resources within your VPC. So we're going to create car rental gateway right here. And mm, you can see I will just have to go here and do create and paste. So at this point, there is nothing here to do with the gateway itself. But once the gateway is created, you now need to attach the gateway to the specific VPC. So I'll attach it to my car rental VPC. So now I have a gateway. I have an internet gateway which is attached to my car rental VPC. The fourth question say create two public subnet. So I'm going to create two public
Good morning,
subnet.
everybody.
Hello,
Good morning.
good morning.
Morning.
So I'm going to create two public subnet on my first tier. Remember, we are working on a three-tier infrastructure. You're going to see here on your note. I made sure that I put first tier, second tier, and third tier. That just to remind you that it's a three-tier infrastructure. So the public layer, the app layer, and the data layer. We have to create two public subnet, and the description is quite clear by now. Based on our experience on the previous project, this is not something that is difficult for us. We know that to create a subnet, you come here on subnet. You can also filter here, so you don't have so many things running along. So I will just filter here for my car rental VPC. As you can see, there is no subnet that is here. So I will create my first subnet by selecting car rental here. Now, once I select car rental, this is where I am. I need one subnet that is called uh, car rental public subnet AZ1. AZ1, it means that I am choosing my US East 1 here. As you can see, mine just user one AZ1. I'm going to be choosing that, and I will make sure that we gave you also, because a couple of people on the other project struggle on the CIDR block. So we're giving it to you so you can just copy right now and paste and to be more productive. So here, the first subnet is created, but since it's a public subnet, that most of the resources will need to have like access to the internet and all those type of communication, is also advisable immediately to go ahead and take more action on that subnet by hitting uh, action, then edit subnet. And once you do that, what you are looking for is enable auto assign IPv4 address. So once you do enable auto assign IPv4 address, you hit save. The reason why you're doing that is that you don't want for you to go manually and be assigning IP addresses to your resources. So anytime a resource is created within this subnet, it automatically comes in with an IP address that is assigned to it. So the work is automated. You are not doing anything manual here. So at this point, we are mainly done with the first public subnet. We can now copy the second public subnet and mainly do the same thing. It means we go here and click create. We have to select a VPC. I go for my car rental VPC here. Then it's going to be uh, car rental public subnet AZ2. AZ2, that reminds me that it's a US East 1B. I'll paste that there. Then it reminds me also that my CIDR block here is 10.0.1.0/24. Then I will hit create subnet. Once I do that, just like the previous one, on this one, I need to select it and go on action here, edit subnet setting, then enable auto assign IPv4 and hit save. So that's done. My two public subnet I created, I can move on question 5 here, which is create one public route table. So and this route table will be called car rental public route table for my example. You can give it a name that you may remember on your end. So, but to create a route table, you need to come here on route table, and you can see that we have a default route table here as soon as a VPC is created. That this come with a VPC, and this default route table is mainly a private route table. It's a route table that enable communication within between resources within that VPC. So we are going to create one route table here, and we call that route table car rental public route table, and we need to specify the VPC where we are creating that route table. So we hit create. Basically here, everything is done for creating the route table, but every single route table need a route to the public or a route to the internet. So from here where we're standing, we need to add a route to the internet. So how to add a route to the internet? You can see that I'm still on route here. I will just hit edit here, and it will take me here on this page where it says edit route. From there, I need to add a route to the internet. And it's going to be all over the internet. I really don't know where everybody will be coming from, but I know for sure that the door that they will have to use is the internet gateway. And the only internet gateway that is assigned to this VPC is car rental internet gateway. Once I select that, I will hit save changes. So what that tells me is that now you can see there is a route to the internet here that is already active. The next thing is I need to provide some resources or associate some subnet that the people from the internet could be allowed to access when they use this route. So you go to subnet association here, you can see there is nothing here as of now. So you're going to hit edit subnet association, and you can see that the only subnet that are available is our two public subnet that were created previously. You have to select the both of them and save association. So once you do that, at this point, if I go back on my route table here, you will see that now my public route table, you have two subnet associated with it. So we basically done with step 6 here. As you can see, I'm flying over because we all understand what needed to be done here, and we did it on the previous project. And I made sure I add a couple of more note or information here so that those that could not catch up will be easy, will be able to catch up quickly so we can move forward. So right now we are on question 8. For those that just came in, we started this project. We are on the first step of the project, and we are on the last question on that first step. So here we are going to be building um, our second tier. On our second tier, uh, we first have to build a private app subnet AZ1. So I'm going to copy that, and these are the details for that private app. So we go to subnet here, and under subnet, if I shift this a little bit, you will see that I only have my public subnet here that are represented. So we go for the app subnet now. So I'll click on add subnet here, then I'll click on car rental VPC. Then my first subnet is called car rental private app subnet AZ1. You can see that the availability zone should be US East 1. I made sure that I specify that for you so uh, you don't have to like thinking over it for some time. So on the CIDR block, it's going to be 10.0.2.0/24. So at this point, I could say it's done. I could just hit create here, but for the purpose of being a little bit faster, you see that I have the option to add another subnet here. So I will just click add here. Then now I will grab the second subnet that I want to create. So copy that. So this time it tells me subnet 2 of 2. So this is the second subnet. So I will paste it. The name of the subnet there is going to be US East 1B as availability zone. So I select that. And the CIDR block here is going to be 10.0 dot 3.0/24. So I get that. So basically, if I stop here, it means that my second tier is done. But I also need two subnet on the third tier. So I can keep on going on here by clicking add to create the third subnet here, and which will be private data subnet. So I will copy that and paste the name here. Then go ahead for the availability zone is going to be US 1A. It's going to be the CIDR block is going to be 10.0.4.0/24 here. And finally, the last one will be this data subnet on AZ2. So I'm just going to add the fourth one here and paste the name here. At this point, it's going to be US East 1B, and the CIDR block here is going to be 10.0 5/24. So you can now review the four subnet. You see here it says subnet 4 of 4. So if you go up, and this is one of the way I usually take the time to look at everything if everything is going on smoothly. So the first subnet here, I will verify that I'm effectively on US is 1A, and the CIDR block is exactly what I'm looking for. Then I scroll down for the second subnet 1B, and the CIDR block is exactly what I'm looking for. Then the third subnet is US 1A, and the CIDR block is exactly what we are looking for here. And the fourth subnet is 1B, and the CIDR block is exactly what I'm looking for. So when I click here, You can see that is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to create all my four subnet at once. So I can just clear some of this filter because I want to see almost everything here. So once I clear that, I just remain with the VPC. You will now see that I have all my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subnet created, and each one of them, you can see the IP range exactly of the CIDR block. You can also go ahead and see that it's 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B. It means that AZ1, AZ2, AZ1, AZ2, AZ1, AZ2. So basically, your first step is completed and everything looks. Go ahead again and do step 2, which is NAT gateway. And NAT gateway again, we definitely know what to do on the NAT gateway. So we know what NAT gateway stands for. We know that we have a private subnet, and we need those resources within those subnet to be available on the internet. So we are going to create two NAT gateway that we're going to place on every single public subnet so that they will enable access to the internet for the private resources that are on the private subnet. So the first NAT gateway that we're going to create is on AZ1. So you scroll down here and you look for NAT gateway. Basically, when we're filtering within the VPC, we're seeing that there is no NAT gateway here. It's still empty. So I'm going to create one NAT gateway. I paste the name here. And from the subnet that we are asking you to create a NAT gateway in, indications stay here that create that NAT gateway within the public subnet AZ1. So you go here and you have to select car rental public subnet AZ1. So you're looking at all the subnet that you have to search for car rental public subnet AZ1. So yeah, I do have so many subnet in here. So even the Jupiter. So car rental public subnet AZ1. So that's selected. It's going to be the connectivity type is going to be public. So you leave that there. You need to allocate an elastic IP, just like I say here that click on allocate elastic IP. So it's going to allocate an elastic IP for that. Then once you're done, you just click create the NAT gateway. So the process of creating this NAT gateway is done, but it's not going to be complete until you create a route table and you assign a route to this route table. So the next step will be car rental route table AZ1. So we're going to create a private route table that will work with this NAT gateway. So the route table, always here on the side within the route table. Remember, we just have two route table right now, the public and the default private one. So we go here and hit on create route table. We paste the name of our route table. We indicate the VPC where we want that route table to be created. Then we click on create route table. Now that the route table is created, we need a route to the internet for that route table. So you can see down here, we just have a local route. So how do we create another route? You stay here on the route and you just hit edit route and it takes you here. Then you go and add a route. You're going to add a route for everyone that is coming over the internet. But now, since the resources are located in private subnet, so you're looking for a NAT gateway. So the NAT gateway that we have for this AZ is going to be car rental NAT gateway AZ1. So once we do that, we can save our changes. So save changes, we done adding a route. Now you can see that we have two routes right here, one for the local and one for the NAT gateway. So, but we are not done yet because we also need to associate a subnet that this will be acting on. So we go here on subnet association. You see that there is no subnet yet. So you go on edit subnet association and it opens everything here for you. Remember, the NAT gateway we are talking about is on AZ1. We want to keep everything aligned. So we are going to select only every private subnet that is on AZ1. We are talking about private subnet and AZ1. So private subnet, we have the private data subnet AZ1 here. I'm going to select that. We also have the private app subnet AZ1 here. I'm going to select that. So these two subnets are the one I need to connect with this NAT gateway. So I will click on here on save association. So by this point, I am definitely done configuring my NAT gateway and associating all the subnet that I need for that NAT gateway. If you reference your guide that I just provided, you will see that at this point is where we are on. We just get done with question 4 here. So we can now move on and start the same thing on the NAT gateway on AZ2. It's going to be the same process, and by now you already got the routine for that. So you can now do it without even thinking on where to click and so on. So we start by NAT gateway AZ2. So we are going here on NAT gateway. We already have one NAT gateway, the one that we created previously. So we go on create NAT gateway here. We paste the name of our NAT gateway. We select the subnet that we want to create this NAT gateway on. It is on the public subnet AZ2. So we have to look for public subnet AZ2 is right here for me. So it's going to be public and we need to allocate elastic IP. So we did that. Then we just go and hit create NAT gateway. So this is done so far. The next thing we have to do is we have to make sure that this NAT gateway connect to a private route table. So we are going to create that private route table for the AZ2 resources. So we go and select route table here. We can see that we already have two route table here that have two subnet and a default route table here that comes with a VPC. We can click on create route table. We paste the name of that route table here and the VPC should be car rental VPC for me and just hit create. Okay, so it's telling me go to route not found. It means that maybe somebody is doing something on my back. Let me go back again and see here. Do I have that route table? Yes, I do have that route table here. Private route table. Okay, let me just verify my names. So car rental private route table AZ1, car rental private route table AZ2. This is the route table. It looks like it was created. So let's go within that route table. That's okay. Let me select it again and see if it's gonna give me action to go within that route table. So I'm here and AZ1. These are the details. I will go to route. Okay, so once I select that, I'm capable to go to the route here, and I will need to add a route to the internet using the NAT gateway. So all you have to go and do here is edit. Okay, still giving me a couple of issues. Let me go back again. Attempt it for the last time, then maybe I might take another action for that. So go here and I'm gonna hit edit. Okay, so let's go back here and grab this route table that is giving me a couple of issues and just select it here. And what I could do is delete this route table. Okay, so I will do delete and hit on delete here. Okay, so who is on here? Let me just go in and select my car rental again. I just need to filter for this VPC. So I do have my private route table, the default one, a public route table, the one we just created, and the car rental private route table on AZ1, the one we also just created. So let's start back our process for creating the second private route table here. So I'm going to select that, copy, and hit create here. So it's going to be car rental private route table AZ2. So on the VPC, it got to be car rental VPC. So I'm going to click on create route table. So now everything went through perfectly. I do have car rental private route table AZ2. So from here on the route, I need to edit the route. So I need to add a route that is coming all over from the internet, but I also need to associate it with a NAT gateway, and which this time around is going to be the AZ2 NAT gateway, and save the changes. It's going to update it for me. I have the 2 NAT gateway here. Now I need the subnet association. For that, I will come here and do edit subnet association. And folks, at this point is the AZ2. So we are looking for everything that is on AZ2 as private. So it's going to be car rental private app subnet AZ2 here, and car rental private data subnet AZ2. Is these two subnet that we are associating here. And once we do that, we're definitely done with creating NAT gateway. And the step two is we need to now create security group just like on the last project. So we are going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 security group here based on how our project is set up. So the first security group will be the application load balancer security group. So here we scroll down all the way to network and security. Do we have network and security here? That's on EC2. So let's search for security group here. Okay. Down here on security, you see security group. You click on security group here, and it shows that you only have a default security group for this VPC. You go in and create a security group. You paste the name of your security group that is provided, and again, you can modify it for your own liking. This default here, you have to remove it and select the exact VPC that you're looking for. And once you do that, it gets you to the inbound rule. This is a time where you have to brainstorm. But for we gave you all the port that you need to open, so there is no such thing as brainstorming for you right now. But if you were doing this project from scratch without indication, this is where you brainstorm which port exactly will I need my application load balancer to open. So here is going to be HTTP traffic from HTTP first. So unprotected connection. So if the port is port 80, uh, we're looking at this traffic all over the internet. That's the first thing. The second one, people could connect through using HTTPS, the secure socket layer. So we're looking at traffic all over the internet too. So this, for the application load balancer, everything is good. You leave the inbound rule as default. You don't change anything, and you go create security group. Your security group is created. To see the security group, you have to hit security group here. So it takes you one step back. And now, what I would like to do most of the time, I make it as a habit. I'm just going to paste my name. I'm going to tag my security group by paste the name of that security group here. That way I can identify it right quick. I don't want to leave this space blank. So at this point, I have my application load balancer security group. I can move to the second security group, which is car rental SSH security group. So a security group that will allow me to SSH within my infrastructure. So for that, I'm going to hit on security group here, paste the name of my security group, do the same thing for the description. I'm just going to paste the name here. Uh, get away with this default VPC and select my car rental VPC. Then once that's done, I go on my inbound rule, and it's just one port that I need to open here is the SSH port. So I will go add rule, custom TCP, select SSH. So it's going to tell me it's TCP port 22. And now I don't want to open this all over the internet. You have to do this for your IP address. It means that for your local computer. So I will select that, and at this point, everything is good. You can leave outbound rule default. We don't hit anything there. So you hit create security group. It created a security group for you successfully, as it says here. So if you go on security group here, you will see that there is a car rental SSA security group that was created. I'm just going to tag it here and paste the name of that security group here as a tag, so that way I can read it through. uh, so we're done with the second security group. You can go on the third one, which is car rental web server security group. So on the web servers, we need a security group that will define how we access the web servers. So we are going here and hit create security group. We give our name here. So we also give the description here. We dismiss this default security group and grab the car rental security group. On inbound rule, there are a couple of ways that we will need to access our web servers. Our web servers will be the one that will house our web application. So uh, how do we access them? It's going to be either by going on port 80 or port 443. So we first define that by adding a rule. What if somebody go on port 80? It means that it's HTTP. Do we allow this access all over the internet? No. This is on private subnet. So we have to go through another rules, which is going to be um, application load balancer. So you're going to search for application load balancer. You can see here car rental ALB security group. So you have to go through this application load balancer to access that. We add another rule here. What if somebody do HTTPS? How do you have to go? It's still going to be through our car rental application load balancer that you have to go through. Now, what about the people that are working like the DevOps, like the developers that are working within? What if they want to SSH within? What if I want to SSH and do some configuration within my server? We need to add a port to SSH, which is port 22. So I'm going to add SSH here. And for that, what is going to happen is that since I already have a SSA security group, I'm going to go by that SSA security group. So it's not going to be application load balancer, but it's going to be car rental SSA security group. So that's the only way to access this web server. I could also put my IP here, but this is the right way to go about, because from then we can define a couple of IP range here, and we'll just put a security group for that, and there'll be a couple of people accessing it. So at this point, we definitely good to go with our web server. So I'm our web server security group. We are not changing anything on the outbound rule. So I'm hitting creating security group here. So once that is done, we are now on the fourth security group, which is car rental database security group. This is the extra tool that we are adding to our application. We're going to add a database to this application. It's going to be a dynamic website. So for the database, we're doing the same thing here. You have to come here. Matter of fact, let me just step back for 1 second and just tag this security group that I created. So I like to give it the name. So I like to give it the name here, and it's going to be car rental web server security group for that. So now we can move on the fourth security group, which is car rental database security group. So I will copy that here and go on create security group. And for that, I will paste car rental security group. On the description is going to be the same thing here. So here I have to get rid of this and select the exact VPC that I'm looking for. And now on the inbound rule, the since it's a database and we're going to open port uh, 3306, so it's going to be you hit here on add rule, and then you go and choose MySQL Aurora. So we are looking at MySQL Aurora. This is it right here. So we get that. You see that the port is 3306 here. And now, how are we going to access it? Who is going to access it? Basically, our database, we're saying that it's only the web servers that have the ability to access this database. So you have to go through the web servers. So we define a web server security group here. So we are going to select that. This is application load balancer. This is SSH, and this is the car rental web server security group. So to access our database, you are going through the web server security group. From that, we're done with the database security group. We can now hit create the security group here, and it's created successfully. As you can see, if we go now on security group, we just need to tag it. So here I will tag it by giving it the same name, and therefore you can see that we already have our four security group created. We need the last one. So since is we're working on a content management system, we want to create another security group because we are going to use an elastic file system, what we call EFS. It's mainly NFS configuration that we are going to do here. So pay very attention on how this security group is getting created. So um, usually you can build your NSF server by yourself when we get some time, and that's on the Linux environment. We can do that, but AWS is providing us with the ability to build a file system within AWS itself. So we are also going to learn about that specific tool today. So let's build our security group for the Elastic file system. So I'll copy that and come over here and hit create security group. So paste the name here, and also on the description, get rid of the default security group and select my security group here. But in terms of NFS, the first thing we are looking for is, okay, we need an SSH. So we're going to go and grab the SSH rule. And for the SSH, uh, obviously, you need to go through the SSH security group. So we're going to select the SSH security group here. That's what you're going through. But now we also need the NFS. So how do we access the NFS? We're going to create another port here and open NFS. So you're looking for NFS. This is NFS. NFS goes on port 2049. And for NFS, it's going to be with the web server. So here we go in and look for the web server security group. So database, web server. So now we have the web server security group. We also need to add the NFS security group itself, but we can't do that because the EFS security group is not yet created. And this is where I say pay closely attention, because for now, I'm going to add these two and create my security group before update this last NFS route to access the NFS, the EFS. So I'll go here and hit create. Remember, I just have two roles that I enter on that security group. I need the third one. As soon as it's created and you see it says successfully created here, I'm going to just come back in and right here where it says inbound rule, I'm going to click on edit inbound rule again. It gets me back to this page where my two inbound rules were created. I'm going to add the third one. And the third one is still an NFS. So I'm looking for NFS here. So now that is NFS, the first NFS go through the web server. The second one will be through the car rental EFS. So I'm going to select that, then look for the EFS security group here. So EFS, this is database, this is web server, and this is EFS. So once I do that, save the rule. Now I'm completely done with all my security group. I can now go ahead and tag this one too. So and save. Let me just large this a little bit and put a specific order here. You can see that I have application load balancer, I have database, I have EFS security group, I have SSH, and I have web server.